Hey, do you have a fireplace in your house or a fire pit outside and you never really, start the fires from scratch because you don't know how? Well, I've had some of my friends and family that they have wood and they have a fireplace, but they don't know how to start a fire. And they're like, I tried to light the log and it didn't work, and they don't get it. So while we have a bunch of videos already on firecraft and how to start fire out in the woods for, survival purposes and this and that, today's video is a very, very basic, for anybody out there watching, how to use a fireplace and how to start a fire from scratch. Stay with me. What's up, warriors? This is Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media and that's how you find your way over to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button and the little thing where it says all notifications, so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops and you get all sorts of cool content from here as well. Alright, so a few things. My mom has been trying to, start fires in her fireplace for years, and my dad was good at it. I'm pretty good at it, and but she has a hard time with it, right? So she's in her 70s, and I've given her firewood. I've given her seasoned dry firewood, and she doesn't quite get the elements that you need to start a fire. Recently, my sister has a house now, and she's got a fireplace, and she had some firewood, and she was trying to make a fire and had a lot of the same troubles. So these are people that are around me and have watched me make a fire plenty of times, but still kind of had a hard time with it. So mom, sis, actually these videos are for you. But anybody else that's watching that has a fireplace that you wanted to start a fire with real wood, or I went the easy route because I want this to be as easy for you as possible. I went to the supermarket where they sell these bundles of really, really dried wood, because I wanted to make this as simple for a newbie to do it. So I went to my local supermarket and they had these outside, and this bundle of wood was like $7. Now this is some wood that I had from my rack outside. So there's some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces, and some of the smaller pieces are able to split into even smaller pieces, right? And a lot of times what you need really when you're starting a fire is surface area. So if I just put a piece of paper that I ball up and set on fire under this piece of wood, it's never going to catch. It's too big, too heavy, too thick. Now there are ways to split this down to a smaller, and what you wind up doing is taking a strong knife and batoning the wood. So what I would do is I would take my knife with a strong grip and I put it on the edge and hold tightly, and I take a random piece of wood as a baton, and I use this to split off smaller pieces, right? And now we have smaller, more manageable pieces that'll catch fire much easier and help me get a larger fire going. But my mom's not going to do that. My sister's like, no. I don't want to chop wood, split wood, make a mess. No. David, that's not what I'm doing. So again, I bought a bundle that had larger pieces, smaller pieces, and very small pieces. Just to give you an idea that I looked at several bundles. I didn't just grab the first one off the top. Some of them had mostly big pieces, which if you were going to get 2 bundles and you were going to use some of the smaller ones from one of the bundles and then use the bigger bundle to keep the fire going, different story. But to get one bundle, get a fire going, you're going to need something that comes with some smaller pieces so that we can get those to light, and then we use that fire to help get the bigger logs going. Start small, then bigger, then bigger, then bigger, then the big logs. Make sense? Typically when you're going to start a fire, any fire, other than those pre-made logs that they come with a wrapper, and you just light the wrapper and you leave it in there and set it and forget it, and it goes up for, 3 hours or so. You're going to need tinder, kindling, and fuel. So tinder is usually going to be your initial source to kind of get the fire going. Kindling is going to be those smaller sticks that are usually pencil lead, pencil thickness, even up to your finger or thumb. And those sticks are going to be the ones that when they catch and they get a small fire going are going to be the things that help the next size up log, which will help the next size up, which will help the next size up. So again, to keep it very simple, using newspaper, not shiny, I take out 2 or 3 sheets. I like to fold it in half on a diagonal. I grab 2 opposite corners, fold it, roll it, nothing fancy, and I just tie a knot. Now a beginner, maybe you might want to make 2 of these. or 3 of these because it'll stay lit for a little while, and it should help you get your smalls, like those kindling sticks, going. But this and a lighter makes for a great tinder source, okay? Now, as we're getting ready to make our fire lay, that's how we kind of lay the logs and set them up, ready to get the fire going. Before we go in there, there's a handle right up in here called the flue. So that handle opens basically a door that allows the smoke to go out. And when you're not using it, like if you put your hand in, you can probably, if it's cold outside, like it's winter time, we got snow coming, I can put my hand in, I can feel the cold coming, like the cold air coming down on my hand. Now, if I close that flue, you don't feel that, or you won't feel it as much. So it's important that you first check to make sure the flue is open before you go to start a fire, and then the room fills up with smoke, and it's a real hassle. A very simple way is to take one piece of paper, light it, and throw it in. Now, there's a side note to this. Listen carefully. If you put in too small of a piece of paper, or oftentimes if it's very cold, very windy, or very, very cold outside, and that cold air is pushing down, sometimes even with the flue open, it could, if the cold air is greater than the heat you're trying to push up through it, sometimes it'll still blow some smoke in, but not nearly as much as if you have the flue open. If the flue is open, if the flue is closed and it's not letting smoke out, you'll see this fill with smoke, and then it'll start pouring out. There we go. See, now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's cold and it's windy, and it's a little bit of it's rolling in, but most of it is going up. Another way to do this is to get a small fire going, let it heat up on the inside, and let the heat help push the cold air out to kind of almost prime the chimney to get the fire going. That's another tip. So before you go and light a whole big thing on fire, and you have a tremendous amount of smoke coming in, and now you can't reach in to close the flue, make sure that the flue is open before you start, okay? Pro tip. Now, in my fireplace, I have logs that, coal from the last fire. So we always talk about the next fire mentality, and the idea is I always keep some of the coals because these are very, very helpful for getting the next fire going. We're not going to use it today, but this helps your fire get started very quickly, very hot, very early on, and again, helps kind of warm up the chamber and help push the cold air out to help the flow. Make sense? All right. The fire lay. What I like to do is I like to take 2 of the thicker logs. So you could use, this size. You could go with something smaller, but I want 2 of the bigger ones, not the biggest, and definitely not the smallest. You need the smallest ones to again, get that fire going. So I'm going to take 2 middle-sized logs, and I'm pretty much going to make a trough. So I'm going to put one in the back and one in the front, and I have them set up again on my fire rack, where one's in the back of the rack, one's in the front of the rack, so there's a space in the middle between them, okay? Now, in that space, whether you make 1 of these or 2 of these or 3 of these, I'm going to take this and put it in there and light it. I'm going to make a second one of these just to show you how easily or how quickly and easily it will help you get your fire going. So there's 1 sheet, there's 2 sheets. That's good enough. I grab the opposite corners, fold it in half, roll it up loosely, not real tight. I want air to get in there. I want it to hold its shape. I don't make the knot too tight. Take this and this. We light it. 1, 2. Now from there, that's when you're going to take your, come on now. It's warming up. A little smoke comes inside because it is very cold, it's kind of windy. Now I'm going to take my smaller pieces, lay them on top. You could lay them on top, diagonal, crisscross, whatever. You want them to kind of get warm. Then they'll kind of catch fire, and as they catch fire, you're going to lay the next one on top. The real trick is anytime I have firewood, I'm always looking for the pieces that I could, little pieces that I could peel off, and of course bigger pieces I could peel off. Drier wood, older wood, look, I peel a little piece of the stick off. If I have a fire going and I don't need the small kindling to get the fire started, I'll still pull these off, and I put them on the side, and I put them, next to my fireplace, so that when I start my next fire, I use these to help me get it started. After you have a fire going and your fire dies down and you have some coals left over, half burnt logs, those are going to be the things that really help you get that fire going. So now you take all these small pieces of bark, small pieces of wood, anything that peels off relatively easily, and you feed that in first so that it'll catch. And again, the smaller the pieces, the more it'll catch, or the better it will catch, and the better it'll help you get the bigger pieces going. That's fat wood. I'm not even going to use that right now. Again, you could use that as an accelerant to help you get the fire going, but this stuff from the grocery store is so dry that it's already catching. To give you an idea of how, again, it'll burn fast, it'll burn bright, it won't burn very long, but you spend $7 on stuff that's really, really dry and it will catch very easy, and it's a great beginner fire starter. Again, when you get a big pile of wood delivered to your house, or you're the one out there splitting it, you'll never have a shortage of smaller, thinner pieces with lots of surface area that these will really, again, you have big, thick logs that are like maybe not as seasoned or half seasoned, or it's only been out there for a year or whatever, and you're having a hard time getting it started, you go with the small, fine stuff, and this is going to help you get a small fire going, which will help you get a bigger fire going. But in the time I'm sitting here talking to you, that's a fire from the thing I got at the grocery store. Now I just add the next size up. Again, it doesn't burn very long. So real quick, a couple tools that are very useful for having a fireplace and making fires regularly and safely. Your fireplace should have some sort of like screen. It could be a fence or something in front of it, again, so that when things pop out of there, you don't want it popping onto a carpet floor or a combustible floor, or something else close by that might catch fire and burn your house down. I strongly recommend having some sort of fire extinguisher close by, just in case. I like having the doors that I can just close, and again, if it's a lot of smoke coming in, heavy wind, I throw in the wrong log by accident, a lot of smoke comes up, real quick, you close the doors. Anytime the doors are closed and you open them, remember that you kind of create some sort of vacuum, and oftentimes you might pull some of that air and smoke in. Just do it slow. And I'm going to open it up. Open it slow, let it breathe, open it further, all the way. Other side, open it slow, let it breathe, open it all the way. Once the fire is going, I keep the gate closed, the fence or screen closed, so that, again, nothing pops and jumps out. Some tools that are really important to have would be a poker, that if you wanted to mess with the, where the logs are, or move them around, or, stoke the fire, whatever, you can. Another great tool, a must if you ask me, is some sort of shovel for when the fire is out. I don't know, I wait 48 hours because I build really big fires. I don't ever want to take out ash that, maybe there's an ember in there that's going, and I put it into a plastic garbage bag and throw it in my garbage pail. I wait till I haven't had a fire going for a couple of days, and if I have a lot of ash and I want to make a fire, and it looks like there's so much ash that there's no room between the bottom of the fire rack and the bottom, I want to be able to suck cold air in, which feeds the fire from the bottom, gives it let the fire breathe and do its job. If there's too much ash and it's like I'm doing the fire on the ground, sometimes it won't flow the way you want it to. So we clean that out before we start the fire. We haven't had a fire in a few days, lots of ash, clean it out, dump it out, put it outside. Make sense? Shovel. The next thing I recommend is some sort of log grabber. Is it a must-have, especially for beginner? With the right tools, it makes everything easy. You use the log grabber with 2 hands. If you got big hands, maybe with 1 hand, but you could use it I want to take that log off the fire. You grab it, pull it off, move it over to the side. Grab the log, lift it up, move it over. Especially if it's hot, don't touch it. Another great tool is a bellow. So all this is basically when you blow on a fire, or you're blowing on the coals to get the coals hot, to make it come back to life if the fire's dying down. A bellow, as you open it, the bag fills up, you push it, and air comes out the front. And you just do it from underneath. Again, if you have a fire that's dying, use this, bring it back to life. If you're practicing some of your skills, however comfortable you are, you get in there and you can blow on it with your mouth. You can get close to fire. Your hands will tell you when you're too close or not. You use your judgment. So in only the few minutes that we're doing this, we got a fire going. If I was using the split firewood that I split myself, or freshly delivered wood, it takes a little bit longer, but not much longer. But it does burn longer. So again, I've been building fires the way I build fires for a lot of years. And when I go like survival training or have a fire pit with a friend or something like that, and a lot of times I watch somebody else make a fire, and I always learn something new about it. So, as always, I love when you guys chime in and put in your 2 cents about maybe other ways that you might start something, especially like, I know we have, viewers and subscribers of all ages and shapes and sizes from all over the world. So if you've got some sort of tip, and especially a beginner way, that's really what I want this video to be about. Some sort of beginner way or beginner tip, trick, hack, whatever that would help some other beginner out there get started, like my mom, like my sister. Please put it in the comment section below. And as always, guys, I just really, really value your support and your contribution to the channel. That's really where I'm going with this. Hey, there's one more thing I just thought of that I know somebody will mention in the comments, and this is a really cool thing. This is just dryer lint from, you put your clothes dryer on, and your blankets, your towels, whatever, your cotton stuff, and I just take off a piece of dryer lint. Check this out. I guess I'll light it in here and toss it in there, but dryer lint. This is why you got to clean it out of your lint trap. Big lighter. And it burns, I don't know. You could probably time it, I guess. But again, piece of lint, it's free, man. And the more you have, some people will stuff it into like toilet paper rolls or after you're done with paper towels or something like that. Woo! Amazing. And that you could hit with the spark too if you were practicing your bushcrafts or survival skills. Dryer lint. Pro tip. Well, if you made it this far and you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you're loving it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you gotta have it, make sure you hit the bell notification button and the little thing where it says all notifications, so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and you want more, you can find me on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. That's all I got for now, warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.